If you find yourself struggling to set goals and accomplish the life change that you're hoping for, this video is for you.
We're going to be sharing 3 common goal setting mistakes, and watch this video all the way through because we'll be sharing a tool that's going to help you set goals in a new way that has the ability to help your goals stick not just in 30 days or 90 days, but for a lifetime.
Now, I can promise you it's not at the 2-minute 10 mark. That is not
You can just skip over
where
that
that's
part.
at. That's going to be one of the worst parts.
Hot garbage.
To get unstuck and become unstoppable, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell to be notified of new content every Thursday morning.
Number 1 is your goals aren't changing your life. And what I mean by this is there's a million ways to set goals. There's the 40X, there's 30-day challenges, there are SMART goals. And the thing about that is if your goals aren't changing your life and your daily behaviors, then nothing's going to change. You're just not going to hit them. Or maybe you will, but they don't have the ability to really change you for the long run. So they're not transformational. And so with the SMART goal, they say to be specific and measurable, realistic, although some people say relevant. And what I find is when you set goals like that, when they have to be realistic and measurable, what that does is it can kind of limit your thinking. You will go after goals that you know how to do and you know are easily obtainable, or maybe they're a little bit challenging, but ultimately they're just not moving the needle enough. But if you change that R from realistic to unrealistic, setting really unrealistic goals for a lifetime rather than just 30 days, it changes the way in which you approach your goals in a way that can actually change more than just your habits for a short run, but it can change your lifetime habits. An example of this is I started out with a goal of wanting to get 6-pack abs. And so I started my fitness routine, went after it, and I got it. And as soon as I got it, it really was like, okay, well, now what? And immediately I fell off of it. And that was just a short burst. Okay, I got it. It's not ultimately that fulfilling. It's not really life-changing. So instead, when I changed my focus to I want a lifetime of health and flexibility and the ability to do things like mountain biking well into my 80s, that's a completely different kind of goal to have. And so then I can start with the end in mind and work backwards from that and set habits in place that will keep me going long term.
So are people setting goals that are too small?
Yeah, in SMART, there's the timely aspect to it. And usually it's 30 days. Those are very small goals that are more like a to-do list than they are really anything that's going to change your life. We do all these little things that we just check off. I had a goal to do this. Okay, it's done. Check, 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 check. Instead, you want something that's a continual process of improvement throughout your life. And what you can do is you can set a lifetime goal and then chunk it out into 3 years from now, 1 year from now, 30 days from now, etc. And as we mentioned at the beginning of this video, we're actually going to give you a framework on how to do just that.
Not now, not yet.
Just keep watching.
But it is coming. So it's like that idea of like reverse engineering. Create the big, final, ultimate, what do you want, and then reverse it back to where you are now. What's it going to take to get there?
Yes, exactly. I
Very
believe
cool.
it's Stephen Covey who calls that start with the end in mind.
I know for me, many times, I want the change to happen too soon. So there's this whole idea, a lot of psychologists will use mice and they'll put them in a labyrinth and they press a button and they get a certain shot of sugar or cocaine sometimes, whatever it is. And the mouse will do what it takes because ultimately it knows the payoff is going to be worth it. I'm that mouse that's just sort of like, why didn't you just put me by the button? Like, why do I have to go to the labyrinth just next time?
I want that cocaine!
I want that cocaine, where is it? Why? And I do, I make an effort, and then if I don't see that life-changing result too soon, I give up on it. And so as we've mentioned in past episodes, the whole idea of that season of planting versus that season of harvesting, there is for many of our goals, a season where we have to put in the work before we get that reward, before we get that gratification, and being able to have the patience to be able to say, it's worth doing the action consistently in order to get there.
Mistake number 2, the means don't justify the end. Recently, I had a coaching call with a client, and he told me that one of his goals was to get a budget and become financially stable. I had to dig a little deeper and find out what was behind that. Why did he want a budget? And what we uncovered was that was just a means to an end and not the actual end in and of itself. That was a step towards a goal. So we had to figure out, well, what is the goal there? What we uncovered was that he was in a living situation that was a little bit hectic and chaotic, and he wanted to get out on his own and have his own place and have some peace of mind and freedom and control over his own environment. And so having that budget, having that stability was a stepping stone to getting there. And so oftentimes we have these, what we think are goals that are really just a means to an end. You know, an example besides that would be, you know, we think our purpose is going to be something like becoming a doctor or a lawyer because it's a job that's noble but also can provide some wealth for us. But that wealth even is still just a means that can provide an end, which is perhaps having exciting life experiences and vacations and, you know, having a nice environment and place to live, having that financial security that comes with that. But what happens is you find out that perhaps that job, that means, isn't really all that fulfilling, and you become unhappy with what you've set as your goal. The next time that you're looking at a goal like this, you want to go a level lower and just think through it. Is this the end goal, or am I after a feeling or an end result that's a result of going through that goal?
Maybe you're in a place in your life right now where you've been going after something for some time, and maybe it's time for you not to go after it harder. Maybe it's time for you to really consider, is this the path I truly want to be on? So I'll give you an example. I started off my professional career mainly in learning and development, you know, teaching and training new hires, and I loved it. And I was good at it. So I kept getting promoted and I kept rising up the ranks in my career, right? More success, more money, more leadership, more responsibility. That sounds like the life you're supposed to live, right? You don't turn down a promotion. However, the more I got promoted, the higher I got up, the more completely unfulfilled I was in my life. I got to a senior manager position at a startup and I absolutely hated it. And what I finally had to realize was I was on the wrong path. So I had to take a step back, do some introspection, and really realize, okay, what am I good at? What do I enjoy? And is it time to actually jump ship and get into a whole new industry? Which is what I did. And suddenly I am immensely more satisfied, love what I do, but I had to take a step back in order to do that. Mistake number 3, your purpose isn't yours. So there are certain times in our life where people are going after goals, not because it's truly in their heart to go after them, but because they're trying to achieve something else. What they may be trying to achieve is acceptance from their parents. You hear stories all the time about people who became engineers or doctors or lawyers only because that's what their father or mother did and they felt like they needed to do that in order to be accepted. On the other side, there is the aspect where I have life coach clients and they've told me that they have been going after wealth, for example, not because it was truly what fulfilled them, but because they grew up feeling unwealthy. And somehow they needed to prove not only to themselves, but they needed to prove to others that they were wealthy enough to be enough. And so they were going after something that really truly wasn't fulfilling, but it was trying to answer the question, am I enough? And I'm here to tell you that no amount of goals will ever answer that question for you. That's a question that only you can answer. And that really the answer is very simple. I am enough. And then when you believe that you're enough, then you set goals not to fill that void, but to really follow through with the purposes and passions and strength that you bring to your life.
And that brings up the question of how much wealth is enough. And if you can't swim in it like Scrooge McDuck, you're just not trying. I thought I wanted to be a famous musician growing up, and I went to Berklee College of Music to pursue it, and I came from a musical family. My dad was a professional musician. My grandfather was a jazz saxophonist back in the day. And really what I wanted was the things that come along with that goal. Things like travel, the freedom to enjoy exciting experiences and express myself to a large amount of people in a way that helps them out, using my talents. And what I've come to find out is a much more fulfilling way to tick all those same boxes is actually doing what we're doing with the Glenn and Arent Show and the things that we've got planned for the future of this business. So here it is. This is the freebie I've been talking about. If you click on the I, which is somewhere over here, I don't know where that's going to be, or is it over here? Knocking over lights. Or if you look in the description below, there's a link. And this worksheet is going to help you set some time, almost like going on a date with yourself. You can light some candles, put on some music, just get into a nice romantic groove, maybe some Barry White. And you're gonna carve out some time for yourself to go through 5 what we call spheres of your life. And you're gonna set your focus and clarity around these areas by envisioning what it is you want for your life in these areas, and then breaking them down and mapping them out across different points in your life over the next 3 months, the next year, the next 3 years.
In the comments below, tell us one way that you are going to change the way that you address your goals to make them more successful and even more life impacting.
And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, give us a like, leave us a comment as Arent had just said. And also, we're on Instagram. Find us it's at The Glenn and Arent Show, is that right?
Yes.
And each day we're posting new content to give you motivation, inspiration,
Perspiration, education.
and challenge you to get unstuck and stay unstoppable.
Okay.
You struggling with your Nick Cage impersonation?
Whatever. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.